Hello and welcome to Wanna Sumo with the Sumo Bros here. Corey Vautour here along with Connor Smith. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, not bad. Just, brushing up on my sumo.
So, an interesting Basho. Not the best Basho. Um, let's get into it. You want to get into the top division or the lower divisions first?
We'll start with the lower division. I'll just go over the winners of each division.
Sure.
So, Aaron won Donaguchi. I think in the bottom divisions that if you go 7-0, you're just automatically promoted.
I think so.
Okay. Asahi Fuji won the Jonidan division. Now, this is the guy that was in Teruga Fuji's stable.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let him wrestle because there was already a Mongolian. And then when Teruga Fuji retired, there was still another one, but they finally let him. And I believe he won last time too. Yeah. So this is his second division championship. So he's had two Bashos and he's won both times. And I mean, like, people have said that in sparring and everything, he's beating, like, Kirishima. So they're stablemates, I guess.
Yes.
He should, I imagine, probably go on a win streak. I could see him winning Sandame next. Speaking of Sandame, Naobatame won and will be promoted to Makushita. Wakano Fuji won Makushita. The bottom three divisions all had playoffs.
There was a bunch of playoffs. It was incredible.
There's four. Because in Juryo, Dewan
there was one,
beat Wakanosho. Now, I don't know if he'll be promoted because he was number 10. I think you have to be in the top 5.
I think so.
I don't know for sure.
It was weird how many playoffs there was, because I was watching the Leo Dickinson. Didn't watch it live, but I went back on Twitch to see what was going on, and I started from like just a little bit before Juryo. And he was like, I'm surprised they're not like rushing for time here, because they were like a half hour behind schedule.
Yep. Enho, I don't know if Enho will be promoted.
Because I think he said, Leo Dickinson said that he would be joining Juryo.
Okay, that's good.
Now, Enho's one of those guys that I remember from not when I started watching, but maybe a year after. Like when I was just getting into it, and Enho's like a rubber band. He bends, but he doesn't break. But that's not true, because he was injured for a long time and fell way down. And having a smaller body like that, it's harder for him to make it back to the top division. Do you think he eventually makes it to the top division? Because I feel like it's been 2 years more.
I guess it kind of depends. Like, Juryo, like, the guys on Juryo are no slouch. Like, I think people think just because it's the second division, they're not as good, but, like, you have a lot of guys in there that haven't been promoted strictly because of the competition.
Yep. And it is what it is, right?
Fuji Sayun is a great example. He did his first tournament in Makuchi, and he went 9-4.
Yep. So
it's, Juryo, poor Kaio, just can't, him and Kazuma just can't get it together.
There's a few guys that I watched in Juryo that you're like, man, because it's interesting, because we'll get to that in a second on guys. Like, it's better to be lucky than good sometimes when it comes to sumo.
Yeah.
Because you look at Hoshoryu, like, I am not a fan. I think he lucked into Yokozuna, because you look at how much he did, which really wasn't that much. Like, I think winning a playoff, a 3-way playoff, basically like gave him the nod. But you look at someone like Takakeisho, who did as much, but used a Henka, and they're like, no, we're not promoting him. Just things like that just irk me. But Hoshoryu is the prime example for me of Yokozunas that really shouldn't have been Yokozunas. Like, you're a superstar now, but he shouldn't have been a Yokozuna.
Just to touch on Juryo, Tsurugisho went 0-15 And I
That's right.
noticed on Twitter that Sumo Jason tweeted and said that it's the first time he can ever remember somebody going 0-15 and not dropping out in the top two divisions in a long time.
Yeah. It's the first time I'm seeing it.
Yeah, because I
I
mean,
was
if
actually
you go 0-15, usually you drop.
yeah. So what happened was I was watching during that point in time, and usually like guys that already have the Makikoshi, you don't really pay attention. It doesn't matter. And I remember everybody was like paying attention with this one because it's like, will he get the dreaded 0-15? And he did. And didn't even fight for it. Just the spirit was gone.
Pretty
You
much, yeah.
mentioned there was a few guys that were retiring. I don't know exactly who they are. I got to imagine Tsurugisho might be one of those guys because he's been at it for a while. And if your body's that ravaged that you can't win one bout in 15 days, might as well hang up the Mawashi.
I'm gonna check and see if I can find it because there was two. No, it just shows me. Yeah,
Because you
it
said there were
doesn't
two
really
guys
show
that
me.
retired, right?
Yeah,
So,
I
I don't
can't
know.
find the names, of course,
No.
now because I'm looking for it.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's Tsurugisho. It wouldn't surprise me, though.
But it
It
should
really
be.
wouldn't. It should be, yeah. At that point, like,
Promotions to Makushi. I don't really know because like last time we were like, okay, these are the guys that are probably going to get promoted, but like I don't know because Dewan Ryu won, but he was Durio 10. Waka No Show will probably end up back because he was Durio 3 and won 11-4. So he had a better record than all the other five, like to his rank.
yeah.
And he went to the playoffs. So I would say Wakanosho will probably be in the top division, but I don't know who
Maybe.
they're going to drop. Um,
I don't know.
if if you
It's a difficult
look,
one.
like Fujiroga went 7-8, but it was also his first Basho, and he did pretty good.
He did
Um,
pretty good, but it's a Makikoshi, too, though.
yeah, so it's
I've
hard to
I've
say. It's hard to
seen
say. Will they keep him on? Because he's
I've
in the
seen in the
East.
past the guys that they don't get a Kachikoshi in their first one, and they're dropped, even if it's a 7-8. You've
So
had a
maybe
taste
him
of
and
it.
Wakanosho will switch. I would
Maybe,
say.
maybe. It depends on what the JSA is thinking. You know, uh,
Which lately, not much.
I don't know. There are some times with them. It goes back to the Yokozuna thing where it's like, what are you thinking? There was an incident. I think it was on the last day, one of the last days, where there was a clear hair pull, and they were like, nah, there wasn't. And then there was another one, and they were like, oh yeah, that's definitely one. It was like the other one was way worse than that, and it
Yeah.
was like, what are you talking about? But let's get into the top division real quick. Ono Sato bowed out after a few days,
Quite early.
and the rumor
I believe
is
it was day 3.
day 3. Yeah, the rumor is that he will not be there in May. His
Yeah.
shoulder is really bad. I think he might need surgery. Um, didn't hear anything on it, but
Day 4,
he
sorry.
day 4.
We
Because
lost
he
5
went,
Rikishi in the first 5 days.
yeah. So it's unfortunate because he's been the one guy that's carried sumo this last year. Like
Yeah.
people got interested because of Onosato, a Japanese-born Yokozuna. Finally, once again, and he's good. He's really good. He's dominant. Then the
Fun to
shoulder injury
watch.
happens, and it's unfortunate. I think that's what made this boss show kind of boring for me, because now he's the man to watch. He is like he's the man to watch, and him losing 3 straight days and then bowing out in the fourth, it's like, well, okay. Well, can Hoshoryu at least win it? And of course he can't. Um, the winner ended up being Kirishima. He got the Yusho with a 13-2. He was 14-1 going into day 15 and lost to Koto Sakura.
My boy, Koto Sakura. Who
Your
looked
boy.
much better this Basho. He's looking like Koto Sakura of the old again.
I still say Koto Sakura doesn't make it to Yoko. I think Koto Sakura is this generation or the new generation Takakeisho, where you're at Ozeki, you're going to be dominant at Ozeki. You might even win the Emperor's Cup. You might get a Yusho or two. But when push comes to shove, you'll just miss out on Yokozuna. The fall from grace for me is Aonishiki. What the hell happened there?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, there's a lot of rumor that it was the pressure. I mean, it's like the thing I see a lot of people commenting or a lot of like questioning, and it's like, oh, he didn't do it, he didn't do it, he didn't do it. Well, to be fair, he never said he was going to. Um, he's only 22. I think the pressure might have got to him. Like, that's the most he's ever lost. Either that or he's injured. I don't know, but if he was injured, I feel like he would have dropped out.
Yeah.
Maybe the pressure. Maybe people are starting to note his moves. Like,
I don't know. He was almost like Ura. He had his like. It's interesting when a sumo wrestler has their own like unique style. Like he had the pull down, where he just take guys by the mawashi and drop them to their knees, and we haven't seen that in the last couple of Bashos.
Well, see, this just reminds me, Koto Sakura does good, Nishiki not so much. That just, for me, verifies that Koto Sakura is my boy. And will be my only boy from here on out. Yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting Basho. The thing about Nishiki is like, he lost, but he didn't look pissed off. Like,
no.
It's like I said, maybe the pressure, maybe he just, he's only 22 years old. He's got a lot of time.
I think it's the pressure.
He could win the next two. Who knows?
I always go back to Takakeisho when Takakeisho was like, it's right there. Yokozuna is in your grasp. And then he shits the bed. And it's like, and I was a massive Takakeisho fan. Like, the only one that I could say I was a bigger fan of, and I wasn't even a sumo fan when he was alive, is Chiyono Fuji. Just watching old Chiyono Fuji matches and all that from the 80s and very early 90s. Like, he was really good, but he was a Yokozuna, very dominant. They had like 31 Yushos. Takakeisho was my guy. Like, the first full Basho that I watched, he won the Yusho. And when he retired, I was like, well, who's my next guy? Well, Ono Sato was right there. So your guy is Koto Sakura. I'm still an Ono Sato guy. I got a few other guys that I like. I like Shishi. Takayasu is another one. Ura. Those are probably my four that I follow the most.
If I had to pick four, I don't know. I think I was just on the Anishiki hype train. Like, I watched him from the beginning, but, he came up quick. It's just interesting. Like, will that be the Anishiki we see from now on, or is he going to come back stronger than ever?
So, a lot of people are comparing him to Tochinoshin. And how Tochinoshin he was going to be the first Georgian-born Yokozuna. And he made it to Ozeki, which a lot of people forget. Like, Ozeki, just to make it to Ozeki, that's a massive accomplishment. Massive. Tochinoshin never really made it to Yokozuna. And he started slipping and slipping and slipping. By the time he retired, he was in Juryo. It's one of those things where does Aonishiki fill that void left by Tochinoshin?
I think what this Basho showed, though, I used to watch Formula One a lot, and I got out of Formula One because Lewis Hamilton always won, and then Max Verstappen always won, and I just got tired of seeing the same guys win over and over and over. I don't get bored of sumo like that because somebody else is always winning. Like it's
Yeah.
it's not dominant. Like I'm not watching the same guy win all the time. There's a lot of like these. Look at Fujinokawa last tournament. He got the two gold stars were over Onosato and Hoshoryu last Basho, and then Yoshino Fuji
Kimboshis.
comes out and Yoshino Fuji comes out and gets two Kinboshi back to back. So it's showing like there are guys that are up and coming. Look at Fujiroga, like I said, 1-7-8, but Fuji Sayum going 9-4 in your
Yeah.
first Basho.
I think one of the things that annoyed people maybe like 10, 15, 20 years ago even is the Hakuho era, where you knew who was winning the tournament. Like, there's a good stretch. Like, he won 45 U shows. That's the record. Like, he broke that record by,
Yeah, that's
what,
a few.
12, 13 U shows? Like, that's a lot. That's a lot. When he retired, like, he retired 15-0. Like, his last U show, 15-0. And it's off that Teruno Fuji got promoted, because I think he had like a 14-1, and his one, I think, was against
To get promoted
Hakuho.
to get promoted to Komosubi, how many wins does he need?
Aye, that's a question for you here, the stats guy. But yeah, no, Kirishima gets the U show here. How do you feel about that?
I mean, he deserved it. He went right through the competition. Um,
Yeah.
it reminded me a lot of Atami Fuji last ball show. But I kind of thought that he was going to get stopped. I really thought Hoshoryu was going to pick it up and win the Basho. That was my guess. And then when I saw on day 14 that they declared Kirishima the winner, I was like, well, I guess I don't need to watch the last day.
They declared Kirishima the winner on day 14, I believe. 13 or 14. And it was after, I believe, Hoshoryu fell to, I forget who it was. But when Hoshoryu went down, I said, this is what I'm talking about. Like, a healthy Onosato would just maul through the competition. And I think that's one of the worries in Japan right now is, can Onosato stay healthy? Like, if he's gone for the next Basho, I imagine you're not getting sellouts everywhere. Like, people tend to forget, like...
Do you think that it's the Yokozuna that everybody's after right now, or do you
Yes.
think that people are liking the fact that the Sumo is that good?
No,
Because,
I think... No,
I've been
Japan
saying, oh,
is...
this is. I've been saying like, oh, this is bad and it was boring.
Here's the thing about Japan. I don't want to call it racist, but they are definitely for a Japanese dominant born Yokozuna.
Right.
Like, the last real dominant Japanese born Yokozuna was in the late 90s, early 2000s. And, every like Japanese born Yokozuna after that kind of feels like a Hoshoryu, where, yeah, you're a Yokozuna, but someone's better than you. I think you have, it's like in boxing, the great white hope. It was dominated by black boxers because they were the better boxers. But then you'd get Tommy Morrison come up, and he'd be nothing compared to Tyson and Holyfield and Lennox Lewis and all these guys. But it was the great white hope, back then. Times have changed, but in Japan,
Yeah.
it's still the great Japanese hope. They want a Japanese-born. Mongolian Rikishis have just dominated, and for good reasons. They're better, But Onosato is one of those guys that he's Japanese-born, and I think that's what the Japanese people want. People say, "Oh, well, that you're claiming it's racist." Well, fuck, you just said it earlier. They didn't want to let one of the Mongolian guys go in because there was already a Mongolian guy there. There was this tension and this questioning, like, well, if Aonishiki gets the Yusho, will they promote him to Yokozuna? Will they allow that? Why wouldn't they? Well, because he's not Japanese born. It's simple as that. It might be controversial to say, but it's the truth.
Yeah, it's I find sports definitely become more popular since I started watching it.
Yeah,
Um, for sure. Yeah, it.
I think it got more popular after it became more competitive. I think
Yeah.
there's a mixture of both. I just think that the Japanese pride has just a little bit more. But once Hakuho retired, Terunofuji was there, and Terunofuji won a few Yushos. Like, if you're telling me who was the better Yokozuna, Terunofuji or Hoshoryu, has Hoshoryu won the Yusho since becoming Yokozuna? I don't think so.
No, his last one was the one who became Yokozuna.
So there you go, and it must suck. Like, it must suck for him to be like, I'm the main event here. Like, Ono Sato's not here. I am the sole Yokozuna, and I haven't won a trophy since then. Like,
Yeah.
it's weird. Sumo's great for that though, because you never know. You never know.
I did find out who won all the prizes.
There you go. Let us
So,
know.
outstanding performance, Kirishima. Technique, Fuji no Kawa. Fighting spirit, Kodo Shoho and Fujisayu.
Okay. So, you didn't, and we'll just find out who got promoted at a later date.
So promotions, Kirishima obviously going to Ozeki. That's been
Ozeki, yeah.
confirmed. Wakataka Kage to Komusugi, and then Fujino Kawa being promoted. It's highly likely because he's Magashira 2 in the East, and he went
Okay.
10-5.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was kind of a boring Basho. I don't really have any more for that.
Same. This is kind of the schedule that we're looking to do with this channel. Is a pre-Basho and a post-Basho. And if we have time, something in the middle. But like, no promises for that one because we're both quite busy with other things. Especially right now, we are smack dab in the finals of the BSHL playoffs. Connor
Yep.
Smithy is the vice president for the league. I'm part of the podcast for the league, and yeah, finals have been very good so far. So with that being said, anything else, Connor?
That's everything for me. I guess my question is who you got to win next Basho?
That's $1 million question. I mean, I'm gonna throw this out there.
Oh, sorry. Takayasu going for W Kachikochi. He went 7-8 in Sekiwake. So him and
Yeah,
Aonishiki will both be on the radar.
yeah.
Sorry.
So for me, next Basho, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Hoshoryu, do or die. It's at that point right now where this is the first Yokozuna, and I've heard the stories of Yokozunas in the past. Like, they get there and they flounder for a year or two and then they retire. I had never seen it. I came in, there was 3 Yokozunas. And by a year, there was only one. And then that one retired, and now we had Terunofuji, who then retired. Now we have 2, Onosato and Hoshoryu. But from beginning to end, I think Terunofuji was the first that I started. I was watching when he became a Yokozuna. He was the first. Then there was Hoshoryu and Onosato. And Hoshoryu has really not impressed me, so I think he's got to win a Yusho here. I think for May, he needs to win one, or man, I don't know if he finishes the year. I'm annoyed with Hoshoryu. He just annoys me.
I think I'm gonna go with Yoshino Fuji.
Yeah, off the grid.
I think he went 7-8 this time, but the last 4 Bashos. He's been really up there. Like he got to Megashira 1 within 3 Bashos.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I think it'd be nice to see a young guy win.
I
Good
agree.
old Kuzano.
Yeah. So with that being said, we will be back in May for that Basho. Until then, take care, everybody.